episode, we dive into Splatoon, unpackage the Micro Direct and what it means for E3 in 2 weeks. Oh, and the Humble Bundle offering grew even more this week. All this plus so many tweets and emails and everything. So with that, Zach, the master of ceremonies, could you cue the music, sir?
Hello, Nintendo Dads. This is Christopher Walken calling in about your podcast, The Nintendo Dad Show. I just want to let you know, I love it.
Oh, horrible.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads podcast. Tonight is June 3rd. Holy crap, is it really?
It
2015. Is. And, of course, this is the show for Nintendo, and joining us is Justin Masson. What's going on, Justin?
That was an incredible Christopher Walken impression. Really well done, Zachary.
Yeah, hey, that's what happens when we test the phone lines. We get Christopher Walken. I don't know why we're starting off like this. It's all downhill from here.
Absolutely it is.
Speaking of downhill from here, joining us tonight is Jesse Waldak from VGTribute.com.
What? And the reason why we had to test the phone system is because no one left a message last week.
And we even incentivized them with a free game.
Yeah, that's what happens, folks. Nobody called the line, which means that we took that code and we burned it. That's what happened. So I hope you're happy.
This is what you did.
We've actually had a lot of awesome... We got a ton to talk about, which we already would have had a lot to talk about this week with Splatoon coming out, and of course we'll get into that later with our what we've been playing. But we've actually got a Direct that came out as well, which of course leads us straight into the news. The news. So
it's so refreshing.
It is. Drink it in, gents. So on Sunday, Nintendo had a Japanese Nintendo Direct. They had a bunch of stuff that they announced. We won't get into the Japanese Nintendo Direct, although we were originally planning on it. And then all of a sudden, there was a Micro Direct the next morning for North America. And which, surprise, it's hilarious to me that Nintendo keeps making these announcements as E3 continues to get closer. Like, E3 is less than 2 weeks away now, and they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, here's this other Direct with a bunch of 3DS games. Nintendo traditionally doesn't, the last several years hasn't spent a ton of time on the 3DS at E3, so I'm not entirely surprised by this. I feel like it is more of a console game show, and that sort of business. They do like to focus more on console games, and they probably benefit more, trying to push the Wii U instead of the 3DS at something like E3. So we got a lot of 3DS news in particular, and other stuff.
Before we dive into a little bit, and I think Zach, you're kind of talking about this a little bit. Like, this is really weird that 2 weeks before E3 they come out with a Direct. Just takes 17 minutes, covers some things, and it's like, all right, peace out, bye. Right, like, this was a very interesting move for them that actually, I don't know, like, I guess we'll talk about it a little bit at the end about what did we think of it being right before E3, but, like, what does this mean for E3, do you think?
Well, I think, for one, it's interesting to look at what was in the Japanese Direct and what was not in the North American Direct. In particular, the thing I'm thinking about is they released a lot of information about Fire Emblem, for 3DS, which is coming out, which apparently early next year, probably.
And has an awful name.
Yeah, Fire Emblem If over in Japan, right? And there was no word of that in the Micro Direct on Monday. So my guess, like, they announced like a lot of kind of really cool stuff and a few really weird things. Like, if you've played the most recent Pokemon games and the Pokemon Ami, where you like rub the Pokemon's head with your stylus on the screen or whatever. They basically took that, and it literally is that in Fire Emblem, to the point where you've got like this big warrior bulky dude and you're rubbing his forehead with your stylus. It's really bizarre.
That sounds creepy.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I saw some pictures on, I think it was on Tiny Cartridge, some, animated GIFs and whatnot, and it seems a little weird. But we didn't hear anything about that. So my guess is that we are going to hear about that at E3. That seems like one of their big franchises they'll spend some time with. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. What do you like? It's interesting. What other sort of things? Maybe we'll get into what they did announce in a second. But what do you have anything you're thinking about, Justin or Jesse?
Yeah. Before we start with the details, I want to say, after seeing the Japanese one or hearing the details, the rough details of the Japanese one, and not expecting the North American one, my thoughts is half of one of my predictions is already done. Nope, they ruined it.
Yeah, it's really
because now these don't count. None of these count.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's true. So
my prediction is 5 new titles announced at E3.
Mm-hmm. We have heard.
None of those count now.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Justin? How are you feeling about this direct before we?
Yeah. It was interesting because we were having some back channel conversations before the North American direct, and I said, well, wow, what kind of news are they giving out? And I think comment was like, well, we'll get all of our news at E3. And then sure enough, 24 hours later, they're like, oh, by the way, here's all your news. So I kind of feel like at some of the stuff they announced, I feel like I could have very easily seen it at E3 as what I would almost call like filler.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So filler between the big rocks, right? Between the Metroids, between, Super Mario Galaxy 3 or Mario Maker or whatever it looks like. But for them to roll out and say, here's what we're giving you, kind of this early information, makes me think either a couple things. Either they realize that they have so much to announce, they can't do it in the time that they have permitted, which doesn't seem right, or that they're really going to spend that time, there's that option, or they are just so lined up with their big rocks or heavy hitters that they want to make sure that that's what everyone takes away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an interesting statement to your point, Zach, that most of these announcements were all handheld, right? Minus Art Academy, that this is all pretty much a handheld.
Which is an eShop game, right? Like
yeah,
it's
and a little bit of Mario and Sonic's, Summer Olympics or Winter, whatever, the Olympic one, and some Splatoon. This is all pretty much 3DS. So I think that's an interesting statement as well. I'm like I said, I wonder if this just means that what they're bringing out is going to be their A game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking back last year, like there were a few games that they spent a considerable amount of time on in that digital event. I'm thinking about remember last year when they talked about Yoshi's Woolly World and they went into a yarn shop and really went into detail about a lot of the different the sort of the philosophy of the game that they were making and stuff like that. And I don't necessarily mean that or think that just because they announce this stuff now that it's not going to be shown at E3. I think a lot of it probably will be. At least that it will be like a presence in the booth, but I don't necessarily think that it's going to be, that it's going to be, it like you said, it would have been filler, right? It would have been filler otherwise, and they don't want any fluff. They want to be hitting hard on points. They want to be very on point during that digital event. And we'll probably see a lot of this stuff in the Treehouse, the Treehouse demos and stuff like that over their live streams over the 2 days or whatever. Are they only doing the live stream for 2 days this year? I think that's what they did last year, or was it 3? I can't remember.
I think they had it on all 3 days.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Mm-hmm. So that's I agree. It's interesting to see what is here and what is not. Yeah, for sure. So let's jump into it, shall we?
Yeah.
So they started off with Chibi Robo Ziplash, which is a new 3DS game. It's a platformer. Looks pretty cool. I don't know. I kind of thought it looked neat. It also comes with can you get this game without the amiibo?
No,
I don't think so. Well, I'm sure I'm sure you can still digitally buy the game, but you're not going to get an amiibo that way.
Right. Yeah, and I'd seen it with
nor can you get the amiibo any other way by the sound of it.
Yeah, that's what I had seen on Twitter, Jesse. I saw you were like, "Well, that's just a big flip of the bird to anybody who's digital only, right? Like, this is the only way that you can get the amiibo is to buy the game physically."
I guess that's one amiibo I'm not getting.
Yeah, so I I don't know. I think the game looked cool. I'm a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. It's if we can somehow pre-order this. Maybe this is a part of that weird loophole, Justin, for Amiibo pre-orders. Maybe if it's a bundle, we can still get it. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about this game? Does it look? I've never played. I've played Chibi Robo Photo Finder, but I haven't played any of the other ones. So.
Yeah, I've never played any of them either. A couple things came out as I was watching. First, I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. Oh, that Amiibo's kind of cute. 2D platformer. I like 2D platformers. Okay. Then I was like, yeah, I don't think I'd be playing this. And I think a couple things, like when there are other 2D platformers coming out that might interest me, such as a Mighty Number 9 that I know I'll probably really enjoy, where am I going to spend that money? I'd probably rather spend it on Mighty Number 9 than this. And then the other thing that just kind of really stood out for me was, man, I think Chibi Robot could definitely be a Smash character.
Oh yeah, that's been. I mean, there is. I think it's already like there are already the statues at the very least.
Yeah. But I mean, like you could definitely be on the fighter ballot.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sure there are lots of people who have submitted that on the fighter ballot for sure.
Is he an assist trophy?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Then
although I'm surprised that that's not the case, honestly.
If not, then there is a chance. Because I think they said if a character is an assist trophy, then no, they're not going into Smash.
Right. Yeah.
Because they'd have to take it out of an assist trophy, and they don't want to do that.
It is interesting. Yeah, like it's a cool looking little amiibo too. Like I don't know. I may look into that. I am clearly, after this most recent Amiibo, and I think I just added to the notes Amiibo Hunter under what we've been playing as well, because I feel like we should talk about that a little bit. But I am clearly bought in, so, what's another one? May just need to reinforce my Amiibo shelf with a little extra bracket or something, I don't know. So yeah, that's Chibi Robo Ziplash, and that comes out this October. Next we have Dr. Mario Miracle Cure, which is coming out next week.
Yeah, we do. And this is a preload too. Yeah, pre-purchase.
Yeah, so you can buy it now, right? By the way, this we're looking at an interesting sort of strategy with both Dr. Mario and Art Academy. You'll notice they are June 11th and June 25th. I'm going to say, and this kind of makes me sad, but this makes me feel like my prediction that we are going to see one of the two games or whatever be released within 2 weeks of E3. Seeing that they have announced these two eShop games for June before E3 has even happened, I feel like that kind of reduces my chances that is going to be available. But that's just my own personal sort of thought about that.
The fact that these are eShop only may help.
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely release more eShop games within the month of June, but I don't know. Justin, you're a big Dr. Mario fan, aren't you?
Well, more specifically, my wife is. She loves Dr. Mario. She has several copies of Dr. Mario. Every playing device we've had has Dr. Mario installed on it. So I think she's kind of maybe excited for it. I think they've done some nice twists to it.
It seems like one of the first times that they've actually kind of added some significant changes. Like with Dr. Luigi on the Wii U, it was like, yay, now there's L-shaped ones, whatever, right? But this one with the actual little power-ups and stuff that you can get seems pretty cool, like an interesting sort of addition to it.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a game that they're trying to merge into some more of that market of really casual match 3 game playing, which is essentially what Dr. Mario is, right? But they're just trying to put some twists on it to kind of compete against the world of Candy Crush.
Except for I think it's a match 4 in this case.
It'd be match 4, but you have the premise behind it.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty cool. I like the fact that they've included download play again, which is nice, so you don't have to buy 2 copies if you don't want to. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm excited to see, to see. I mean, the thing is that once how many times are we going to buy Dr. Mario over the course of our lifetime?
Well, apparently for my wife, it's about 6.
Yeah.
She has the cartridge still from the NES.
Yeah, I have the original Game Boy cartridge. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah,
Um,
I had it on NES. I think I had it on GBA. I bought the WiiWare version.
did you buy the Wii U version, Dr. Luigi?
No,
Okay.
and I think
Then you're not a true fan.
I'm not going to get. I don't think I'm going to get this one either. I'm just.
Mm-hmm.
I played a little bit of it as part of the NES Remix 2 in that tournament mode, and
Mm-hmm.
that was enough to burn me out on it.
Yeah. Right on. Next was actually, there were very few times that maybe it was just the mood that I was in on Monday morning, as I was kind of like, oh yeah, there's a micro direct. And so like, as soon as this Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon hit, I actually fast forwarded the direct. I was like scrolled through it. I was like, oh, okay. It's just not my sort of
Jam.
it's not my jam. I also did the same thing through Mario and Sonic at the Rio
Olympics.
2016 Olympic Games. Although I'm sure those will be great games for their target audience, they are not for me. So yeah, and for either of those games, do you guys have any thoughts on that, or we just kind of skip them?
Pass.
Well, you know me and the Pokemons.
I know, right?
I'm a big passionate Pokemons player.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start getting angry. People are gonna send me like angry emails. Oh, the internet. Although the one thing I thought was kind of cool, and this is completely just for me, is I was kind of happy to see that Mario and Sonic, the Rugby Olympics sevens was added to it.
Oh, cool.
In 2016 is the first return of Rugby sevens to the Olympics. So I was kind of impressed that was included in the game.
Yeah,
So that was...
That's in the Wii U version of the game, not the 3DS. 3DS is getting a golf exclusive game.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because golf is also getting back in the Olympics this year.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Neither did I.
Golf is, it's so funny. Like I'm totally not a sports guy, and then the Olympics come on, and I'm like, people jumping on trampolines. That's cool, right? Like,
Well, when I was a kid, I ran track, and even then, track is the only event I really was interested in watching. And now it's not even. It's done. I missed it. I see how heartbroken I am.
yeah, totally. So yeah, those are both pretty cool. I mean, those games are Mario and Sonic sells like crazy. Like
Yeah,
I
they
think
do.
I think it's just as much the Olympics brand as it is Mario and Sonic. So there you go, kids. Next up, we have the Splatoon update, which included what do they call the NZAP 85 or something like that?
That's correct. Yeah.
So a new gun,
as
which
a reference to the year 1985.
Okay, yeah, and so that's the NES Zapper gun, the gray one. Although there was a leak somewhere that the orange one is in the game too. I think it was in like a game guide or something. So that's probably coming later. But there was also a new map, which is really cool. Did you guys get a chance to try the new map?
I played one or two levels.
Like Port
once,
Mackerel
twice,
or something like that. It's like a bunch of shipping crates all in this big area, which is I think it's a really fun map.
I'll get into my use of that one later. Though
Yeah.
I did play a little today. I played like 5 games, and I played it. Every one was the skate park one, which was fun the first time, but got really old the 5th time without changing it up.
Was this in ranked mode or in?
No, in the normal mode.
Okay.
I haven't even unlocked ranked mode yet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that new one, the warehouse, I forgot what it was called already.
Port Mackerel or something like that.
Yeah, Port Mackerel. That was the other alternate course that they could have given me, but out of five games, they didn't give it to me at all.
It seems like when they're doing that, when they are assigning those online levels, my experience at least is that it's not like, it doesn't feel very like random. It's like back and forth. Like you'll get like 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 matches on a single map, and then you'll go back to another one for
Dude, why don't
a
they just
few.
alternate them? If they're only going to give me 2 at a time, just go back and forth. Why even randomize that?
Yeah, well, I think you have to randomize it in order to because otherwise getting it to sync. Well, I guess not if it's just the same party, right? And you have people jumping in and out, but yeah, it does feel like it clumps together pretty often. So anyway, we'll talk about more about Splatoon in a minute there. In a minute here. Next, we have Art Academy Home Studio, which is available June 25th and available for pre-purchase today. This is the Art Academy games. There's already a sketch pad which is on there, and this is going to be like all of the lessons and stuff like that. Yeah, it's interesting. I actually do have the Sketchpad app on my or the Sketchpad game. I don't know if you'd call it an app or a game or whatever.
I would call it an app.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean they're cool. I actually preferred the Pokemon Art Academy over the the actual Art Academy on 3DS. I owned both, and I definitely prefer the Pokemon one just because it's more of a, I guess it's more catered to the type of illustration that I like to do instead of painting like flowers and apples and stuff. Like you're actually painting really cool, more exciting things. So like Charizard. Anyway, so that one again. You guys, either of you have interest in honing your art skills?
I've bought the original Art Academy and the Pokemon one to my youngest daughter because she's an aspiring artist. She's good and wants to be better, but she also only wants to draw what she wants to draw. So she's not a fan of the sitting through the lessons and drawing the crap that they want them to draw. And I also bought the sketch pad on Wii U, and I think she's used it a total of maybe 5 minutes.
It'll be interesting. Are they keeping that sketch pad up like online in the store when this other game, when Home Studio comes out, or are they taking that down?
They didn't say, but I'd imagine they still keep it up. Because
I would think that they would just, I mean, unless the Home Studio is like not that much more expensive. The sketch pad is actually really great for how much you pay for it. It's like what, $6 maybe, and it's I mean the real big appeal is to be able to do some pretty good art and then post it to Miiverse, right? So anyway, I think Nintendo's Nintendo kind of under, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of the Art Academy normal series. What about you guys? Justin, have you ever even, you've never really had a 3DS or a handheld until now, anyways. So
I got nothing for you on that.
Okay, cool.
Even
so
the like flip note thing that we got at the studios, that didn't really interest me.
That one fizzled pretty fast too, didn't it? Especially since they didn't have the online functionality that they had originally promised.
Yeah, I put that in my folder of stuff I'm not really going to use.
I did make one animation that I'm kind of impressed with. It has 2 stick figures, one more in the foreground, one more in the background, and they're throwing a ball. One throws it down, hits the ground, it goes up. The other guy catches it. The other guy throws it up, hits the ceiling, and the other guy catches it, and it loops.
Nice, right on. Next up is the Project Treasure, which they didn't even show the trailer in the direct. They just said, "Hey, it's on our YouTube page." And didn't even show the trailer. Justin, you said that you thought this game looked really lame and weird. How were you, explain yourself here? Because I thought it would actually, remember, this is actually a free game, right? This is a free-to-play game that's coming, so anybody will be able to try it out for free. But what are you thinking? Why do you feel like it looks lame?
It's so funny. I think the contextual change of the tone, right? So I was spent the 17 minutes and watched this direct, right? So I watched a cute little, I don't know what chibi robot is, whip around a power cord. I watched Dr. Mario try and cure some diseases, Mario racing Sonic, and we talk about the Art Academy stuff and some Bravely Second, this kind of Nintendo cutesy feel. And I'm like, oh, I will go over to YouTube and watch this video. And all of a sudden there's a guy with a giant axe trying to chop down the zombie, and I was like, whoa, this is a very different tone. This is a very different...
which is probably why they didn't show it.
Oh, and it's exactly why they didn't show it, right? It felt very contradictory to what Nintendo is, what Nintendo's products typically are, and I think especially after coming off an entire weekend of being hosed in paint for Splatoon, it felt like something that was completely... I think you have both the wrong restaurant, sir.
Your princess is in another castle?
Yeah, exactly. And she may be dead and rotting. Or a zombie.
Okay, Matt,
it just didn't... Yeah, it just didn't feel like it fit in as well as it should have. And I think that it didn't really sell me what the game was. It was like, okay, so I'm guarding money, I take money, and I fight zombies. Like, I don't really, not really getting the whole depth of it here.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very, I don't know, like hyper, not sexualized, but hyper. Because everything felt like it was just more. Felt like it was from the creators of Bayonetta, I guess. Like very kind of over the top style to it.
Yeah, it did. I don't know. It looked like a kind of game that, at the same time, I can imagine like me and you and Jesse kind of getting online and trying to go through these. It really depends on the gameplay. Like you don't really get that much of a sense of what the gameplay feels like, and the pacing of the game. That game could be really sort of fun, action-packed. It could be tense, like a sort of horror game. It could be grindy as hell, and we don't know which is which right now, right? Like, who knows? So, like, it was very much just a sort of, here, look, we're all in, we're all in Egypt crypts, and that was about it, right? So,
yeah.
I'm interested to see that. We'll probably see more of this one at E3.
Yeah, I feel like just with a game that they've kind of been like very mysterious about, and they're like, here's a trailer. I would have liked to show me a little bit more than what you did show me.
Yeah, and this isn't a Nintendo. Is this even a Nintendo published game, or is it Namco that is?
I think it's just Namco.
Yeah, well, it's going to be eShop, I guess, because it's free to play. So
yeah,
we'll see. But it is Nintendo exclusive, so we shall see. Next is the Nintendo World Championships 2015. June 14th is when it will be at 3 p.m. Pacific time, and they did drop a hint that one of the games in the championship is a secret to everyone, which of course is reference to the original Legend of Zelda game on NES. So we know that game will be played. This was something that was actually kind of they weren't super clear about this, but it was only the qualifiers that were the NES remix thing, so they aren't actually going to be doing that for the championships, which is good. I mean, I guess we kind of should have known that. At least maybe I personally misunderstood that when they had announced it. But yeah, so that's actually, part of it will be the original Legend of Zelda game in the championships. I'm a little bit more excited about this now that the qualifiers.
The way I took it doesn't necessarily have to be the original Zelda. I think it could be anything Zelda. What it'll likely be is if they're gonna, it's either some task time based, something that they can score on and compare, or if they do like head-to-head things, do something like from a Four Swords where they try to collect as many rupees as they can. And
Or I'm going to lean into an idea that I heard from Jose Altero on IGN's Nintendo Voice Chat. What if it was a Zelda Maker level?
What?
A Zelda. So you know how Mario Maker you make levels? What if there was a Zelda Maker where people made customized dungeons?
That would be interesting.
So no one could have ever played this level before.
So they actually announced Zelda Maker at the same time as showing off this particular.
Correct.
That would be smart if they did that. I don't think they will, but that would be cool if they did.
Yeah,
that would be cool. Yeah, so that's on 3 p.m. and it seems like 3 p.m. is when their stream starts, and they have a little bit of pre-show. It's not necessarily that this competition starts at 3. But yeah, are you guys planning on tuning into this?
Yes.
Yeah. If I'm available, I will.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. I may end up just watching some of it on my phone wherever I am. I'll just kind of check in.
I plan on having as much of the Nintendo streaming stuff that week. Streaming from my Mac onto my Apple TV onto my big screen behind me.
Nice. Finally, the last 2 games that were announced, they spent a lot of time on this LBX, Little Battlers Experience, which is apparently
have you heard of this
TV
before?
show. I have never heard of this.
Neither have I.
It reminded me of, was it Custom Robo on GameCube? I'm surprised. It's I think it was GameCube, wasn't it?
Metabots is what it reminded me of.
Yeah, some Metabots too. But there was a game on GameCube called Custom Robo that was a first-party Nintendo title. And there's actually, he was like an assist trophy and Brawl, like the whole 9 yards. And it kind of reminded me of that. But this is apparently like a TV show. Is it on Nickelodeon?
That's what they
anyways,
said.
Very clearly, I don't know. It kind of looked. It's either going to be like a kiddie game, or it's going to be something that ends up having a lot of depth to it. But they already have one season of an anime
I
show.
vote for option A.
Yeah, you think so? Yeah, probably. It feels more like Fossil Fighters than it does Pokemon or something like that, right? Finally, of course, like Justin had said earlier, Bravely Second, coming 2016. This was a game that we knew was coming, but it's our actual official announcement for North America. So, was there anything specific if in Bravely Second that jumped out to either of you guys?
No.
It seemed like more of the same.
You know, I would say this. It actually made me, and I know that people are getting shocked by my following statement, it made me actually think, maybe I want to play the first one.
Yeah, I really kind of considered it, and then was like, nah. I don't know what it was that really made me so meh on it, but maybe it was more the time investment, which is hilarious because I bought Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, and played about 4 hours of it and never went back. I don't know why. I should go back to that game, by the way. I don't know. I feel like I could enjoy it, but at the same time, I could go play Splatoon instead.
I tried playing Bravely Default when it was new. I ended up renting it from GameFly and got maybe 3 or 4 hours in. Got to like the second dungeon and got hung up with the job classes.
Yeah.
The jobs that I had were not opportune for the dungeon, so therefore it did not bode well. And I didn't feel like changing jobs and grinding to level up to where it mattered. So that's when I shoved it back in the envelope and sent it back.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Direct as a whole. Overall, I was kind of like, it was nice because it was a complete surprise, and so it's not like it was a disappointment because I had zero expectations, a few kind of cool things, but for the most part, I was just kind of like, oh, awesome, Splatoon, right? That was basically the Splatoon update. We got ranked mode already, which was great. Other than that, a bunch of stuff that I'm not too interested in. I'm interested to see what this Project Treasure ends up being like. I'm excited to hear more about Chibi Robo. Yeah, that's about it. Anything else before we head into this Humble Bundle? Humble Bundle had an update. Of course, last week we talked about the Humble Nindy Bundle. They had announced that there were going to be more games, and those additional games have been announced. The website no longer says more games on it, so I'm assuming this is it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they have also announced...
The clock is also ticking. There's not many days left.
Yeah, so if you have paid more than the average, which currently is $9.21, you now are receiving 3 additional games, which are Sports Ball, Gunman Clive, and Runner 2 Future Legend of Rhythm Alien.
Oh, come on. I wanted you to give the
whole
title.
Bit Trip presents Runner 2 Future Legend of Rhythm Alien.
I think it's an awesome title. I love it.
It really is. Honestly, that is one of the first games I played on my Wii U, and it's still one of my favorites.
Especially with the way...
It's a ton of fun.
Martin A.
Oh, yeah. He's great.
When he announces the title.
Mm-hmm. And I actually heard Sports Ball wasn't bad either.
Never heard of that one. So...
Yeah, I heard that was a pretty fun Wii U eShop game. So we will be giving out codes for I know for myself, I have Gunman Clive and Runner 2, so we'll be giving my codes away for that. Away on the show in the next week or so as well. We got tons of codes. We got codes from everybody else as well, from a lot of other people. So we will be giving those codes away. So if you want to, stay tuned, and we will be giving those codes away. So awesome. Any other thoughts on that before we jump in? Justin, you've got this thing highlighted. What are we talking about here? This last bit.
Oh well, I was going to talk about the Humble Bundle thing. I think it was a great program, and I know that they've sold I think they've sold over 55,000 of these things.
Currently, the counter says 66.
Is it 66? Holy cow! Yeah, that's incredible. I think they've made just a ton of cash on it too. So I think that's great. Really cool. I hope this is just the beginning of it, right? I hope that we see a lot more of this, because I think this is absolutely fantastic. So
you have until Tuesday afternoon at noon Mountain Time or 2 p.m. Eastern to Then they swap it out with the next bundle.
Yeah.
And as Zach had said too, like, you know, we've got a lot of codes, but we heard from a lot of our fans was like, hey, by the way, I own a couple of these games, but I picked up the bundle. Here's a couple free codes for you guys to give away. So we've actually got a ton, like Zach said, a ton of codes to give away. So it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And by the way, today is episode 30, which congratulations, gents. That's awesome, and we will, we'll celebrate by giving away a ton of codes. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Free games for everyone. Finally, we have this thing in the notes here. Animal Crossing Wii U. Is this?
It's Harvest Moon Wii U. I wrote the wrong thing.
Oh, dang it. Okay. Oh, that's right. The new Harvest Moon game, which is announced for PCs, Android, iOS, and Wii U.
Yep.
So there you go. Now this is different from. What was it? Story of Seasons, which is like actually made by the people who made Harvest Moon, and so this Harvest Moon game is actually different. I don't know.
I have zero clue. I've never played the Harvest Moon things, but a lot of people got excited about it.
Cool.
Yeah, neither have I, and I know there was some controversy over who owns the rights to Harvest Moon, which is why the Harvest Moon game that's not named Harvest Moon came out. But I don't know what this is, or who wrote it, who made it. I'm not going to play it.
Yeah.
I just don't say it there.
Cool. Well, on that note, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. All right. So, before we get into Splatoon, which released last Friday, let's talk a little bit about what is, the coming of Amiibo-geddon has happened, and it's over and done with. And I saw, especially like Thursday night or like late Thursday night, I saw people like saying, "Oh man, I'm going out and lining up," and so like there were actually people lining up to get Amiibos on Thursday night, even so that then Friday morning they'd be able to, go out and buy whatever they had and or whatever they could get their hands on. So Justin, you and I both went out. Jesse, you had yours shipped in, right?
Well, for the Splatoon, yes. I got.
Okay.
We'll go back to that one later. But
okay.
I did around noon or so when I was out of my lunch break that day. I swung by GameStop and say, "Hey, do you have any Silver Marios left?" And they say, "Sure, we do." So I picked that one up.
Cool.
And then over the weekend, I remembered, I have enough of those stupid pro member GameStop points that I can redeem another $15 discount off of an in-stock item. Which is, remember, that's how I got my Link Amiibo, because I got it for free.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's right.
I did it again, and I got Pac-Man.
Nice. Cool. Well, I have Justin. You and I were both out the morning of. I ended up getting. I had pre-ordered like 6 Amiibo. I had ordered the 3-pack of Splatoon, and then I had pre-ordered. I was like one of the first in line to pre-order the morning that pre-orders started, and so I ended up with pre-ordering a Ness, Lucina, and Robin, and then the Splatoon 3-pack. And then, just kind of, as I was on my way to Toys R Us, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just stop by there and just see, just to see what's there. And it turned out that they had a ton of Greninja. They got like 70 Greninja in, which was a Toys R Us exclusive. And it's likely that they would not be restocking that. And so I was like, all right, fine, I'll buy a Greninja and I'll buy a Charizard. So I bought a Greninja and a Charizard at Toys R Us. Then went up and bought another 6, bought the 6 that were pre-ordered, and then Justin was like, hey, if you can get me another Pac-Man, just, then go ahead and do that too. So I ended up buying 9 Amiibos that day.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is crazy. By the way, Justin, I still have your Pac-Man at my house.
Thank you.
So we should figure that out soon, but honestly, like at the same time, like I look at my collection, I'm like, it is now so big that it's glorious again. Like there's this weird sort of things where, I have these nice few, and then there was so many that, like, I had a lot, and I was like, oh man, like why do I have so many of these? And now it's such a big collection that it's awesome again. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it, actually. It's pretty cool. So What about you, Justin? Like, actually, I was surprised at how like nice and easy it was for me this time around. But again, the only one I didn't get that I kind of wanted was the Jigglypuff one. Which, by the way, Justin, did you hear about the Walmart? There was one of the two Walmarts in the city in Lethbridge where we live. Some guy came in first thing in the morning, and the Walmart employee literally sold them the entire shipment. Like
how is that able to happen?
I don't know how that's possible, but he literally bought all of the Jigglypuff amiibo, all of the Robins, all of the Ness, or I guess it wouldn't have been Ness, but like Lucina, Robin, Jigglypuff, like all of those. He literally bought every last one of them.
So did you stop by the Northside Walmart?
No, I found that out like as I was buying as I was buying at Toys R Us. The people in front of me were saying that to the cashier, and I was like, "Holy cow! Like that's just ridiculous." So
that's insane.
Anyway, how was your sort of amiibo hunting?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I went in for the pre-order, much like you. There wasn't a whole lot that I was kind of really interested in. I obviously wanted the Splatoon 3-pack, which I'd already pre-ordered, and I pre-ordered Pac-Man because I thought it'd be kind of cool. Excuse me. Conveniently enough, my Pac-Man is currently, or the Pac-Man that I purchased is currently somewhere between here and the in the United States, being shipped to our good friend Dave.
Nice.
So that was why I said, sir, if you find an additional Pac-Man, I would like to get that, because I originally thought, yeah, I'll pick him up because I liked what he did for the Mario Kart helmet thing. So that'd be pretty.
Oh,
cool.
That's right. Yeah.
So like I really there wasn't a whole lot that I was really shopping for, so it was pretty easy. Unfortunately, you know, the big thing I would say is there was a really massive lineup of people that I had to kind of wait through. Like I waited for 20 minutes to get to the till to get my stuff. Not horrendous, obviously, and everyone was civil and nice about it. And I mean, the methodology is pretty easy. Like the employee kind of said, "Okay, what'd you come for?" And they pulled up the receipt and scanned what you'd already pre-ordered. Boom, boom, boom. Here you go. And everybody asks, so, like, "Oh, did you get an extra?" And they're like, "Nope, did not." Okay, moving forward. So it was pretty efficient and quickly. So I was pretty happy with it.
Mm-hmm. And they had a sweet deal on Codename Steam too, right?
Yeah, $13.
Sheesh, that's awesome.
And Pro controllers too. At least where I went to the EB Games here, they said if you wanted a Nintendo Pro controller and you bought Splatoon, you got it for 50% off.
That's pretty awesome. Cool. So yeah, that was Amiibo hunting. If anybody wants to send me a Jigglypuff, let me know. That'd be awesome.
And apparently, like, Dave went out and he had success too.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of our U.S. friends actually went out. We got a couple of tweets from them that we had some success on Amiibo Hunting Day. Of course, we reach out and ask how everyone's hunting went.
Totally, yeah. So let us know too. We're also going to get into. I actually to start off our discussion of Splatoon. I have a quick audio thing that I want to play. My 4-year-old son has been really excited about it for a long time. You know, I had showed him the video. Like I sometimes will watch Nintendo Directs or something, and he'll like sit on the couch with me and watch them, like on the Wii U or whatever. And so he was excited about Splatoon, and I kind of like, as he was going to bed one night, I just kind of like was talking to him, and this is like a short clip of that. I'm gonna play this whole thing at the end of the show, but. Yeah, here we go. What's your favorite part about Splatoon?
You turn into a squid.
Is that fun to play as a squid?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a kid or are you a squid?
Squid.
You're a squid?
Mm-hmm.
You're a kid? You say, I'm a kid, I'm a squid.
I'm a kid, I'm a squid.
All right,
He
cool.
even laughs like you do.
Yeah, he's a goon. So now I have this on my board.
I'm a kid, I'm a squid.
There we go. So, so Splatoon, I have the music here so that we can all get in the mood. I know, Jesse, I'm excited to hear your... every time I hear this music now, I just kind of want to go and play Splatoon. Now, Jesse, you... let's kind of talk about this in general. First of all, I'm really excited about. I've been really impressed with Splatoon. For me personally, I have played. We were talking in the pre-show. Justin, we both had said we probably played anywhere between definitely over 10 hours since.
Yeah.
I know that I probably averaged a couple hours per day. Like, and it's one of those games, especially online, where it's like, oh well, I'll just do one more match before I go to bed, and then I'll just do one more. Right? It's pretty easy to get caught into that loop. But Justin, how are you feeling about this game so far?
I like.
Yeah.
Oh, do you
Oh,
think-
sorry. Was it Jesse or Justin?
Justin, sorry.
All right,
I do
sorry.
want to get to you, Jesse.
I couldn't.
I do.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sure.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I am really impressed with it. Like, I told my daughters in the morning that we were picking it up, and they were like so stoked for it. It's in our house kind of been. It sounds really bad, it's like the incentive program, right? So okay, well if you get all your chores done, and you listen, then we can play some Splatoon at the end of the day. And they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's awesome. And so that's really been a really fun experience. The first night we all stayed up till I think like 10 o'clock, which is way past their bedtime, playing it together. So it's been really, really awesome. I think for me, when I look at playing it, I have barely touched the single player mission.
No,
My
really?
10 hours has almost been exclusively online playing, which has been pretty awesome. I got to a point, like my daughter Saturday actually got up, turned on the Wii U, turned on the TV, and actually played under my profile. And I quickly realized like I was level 7, so she was having to compete against people who were around the same level-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And that was challenging. So I actually had to create her own Nintendo profile so that she could play like the first level.
Welcome to
Oh, hang on. What's going on here? Sorry, I don't know what just happened, but
That's okay.
level-ish.
oh, weird. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed it, and the girls have been saying like, oh, go change their hat and go change their shirt and different outfit and this and that. So like the customizability of it, they really love. I've had a hoot with it. Like this is an incredibly fun game to play. I am really impressed that Nintendo so quickly opened up ranked battles. I was impressed with that. I was impressed they already had a new map they were offering. And I'd agree with Jesse. Like, at times when you're going on, like, it did feel like I was playing the same map, like, 6 times. I kind of feel like that rotation of 2 needs to be, like, 3 maps. Right? As opposed to, like, give it a little bit bigger on... Like, I don't mind that you're giving me a certain X amount of maps for 4 hours. That's fine. But let's add an additional one in there. Like, 3 maps you can rotate from. I have found myself consistently going back to the roller. Like, that is my jam.
Cool.
So I've loved that. One of the interesting things I would have liked from it, especially when you compare it to something like Mario Kart, is I really liked in Mario Kart, it sounds silly, how you could record your footage and then save clips and bring it back. Because there was a match I played, 3 minutes. I was a roller. I killed 10 people, didn't get killed once. Like got, I think it was like 1,100 or 1,200 points. Like I rocked it. I had some sweet moves, and I was like, did anyone else see this? Because it was pretty awesome.
And you can't even share a screenshot on Miiverse, right? Because you're playing online, so it won't let you jump to Miiverse. So
Yeah.
the only way to do it is to take a picture on your phone of the TV. So, I've had. I think it was on Saturday night. I discovered the blaster gun for the first time, and I was averaging probably 10 kills per game for like a good hour. And I think it was in Arowana Mall. There's the sort of like this thing in the middle, and so you can kind of swim around it. And so you swim around and shoot somebody from behind, and then kind of swim around again and shoot somebody else. And I was on a roll for a while. And yeah, being able to share that would be nice for sure. Man, I kind of just to go off of what you said, and then we'll get to you as well, Jesse. I've been really enjoying it. I jumped into ranked battles, and I feel like holy cow, that is a whole new level. And I tried it the opening night or whatever, and was immediately like, okay, I gotta let the real good people get out of my tier. Like, I need to let those people level up and get out of here so that I can actually play against people my own level, because I was getting destroyed. And even a single day, I feel like it's leveled out a little bit more, and also I kind of picked up a little bit more of some good strategy there. But ranked battles actually are a little bit easier now as well. So, but yeah, I actually have played through the single player campaign as well as doing all the challenge modes for the green Squid Amiibo. So it's pretty crazy. It's really fun. I really do like the single player campaign. It is a little bit short, and I'll just say without spoiling too much that the end boss is like if you were to take the difficulty of the rest of the single player campaign and then look at the end boss is way harder than anything else in the game by quite a bit. It took like, I would say I maybe would fail any other level in the game maybe once, and I probably failed like at least a dozen times before I beat the final boss. So it is a really good sort of finish to the game. But yeah, and then the amiibo challenges. I know Jesse, you had said that you were worried about having a sort of pay to win gear model or whatever, and it's almost entirely cosmetic. Frankly, like it's just standard 2-star gear for the awards, and then getting some new gamepad games. Like I got the rhythm game for beating one of the sets of challenges on the green Squid amiibo, and so I got the rhythm game there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I definitely it has been a long time since I have felt the draw and the desire to go back to this game, to go back to a game and to keep playing it. It's been a really long time, but
yeah, maybe before we got, like, I think there's some wrap up thoughts here as well. So I want to maybe go to Jesse before we continue to kind of Splatoon over how much we love this thing.
Sorry,
Jesse, the floor is yours, sir.
The floor, yeah, because I know, Jesse, you had said that you were excited, like when we had done the test fire, you were saying that you liked it, and now you're feeling like how are you feeling about it now?
Yeah. The demo in the first hour at launch, I was having fun. I felt the matches were pretty even for the most part. That there wasn't a lot of just complete domination going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens with every shooter and every other multiplayer game tends to happen, at least in my case. The good gets better, and the not so good is in a continual respawn loop.
Yeah, it's definitely it is definitely, like, I feel like I'm getting better at this game the more I play at it, and the way I'm playing is changing, and yeah, I feel like if that wasn't something that you picked up on fairly easily, which some people do and some people don't, that's fine, right?
Yeah. And this
but you
isn't
feel like
limited
you're just
to
not picking
shooters
up on
either.
it, right?
Mario Kart, we had the same problem. StarCraft, I'm sure, has the same problem. And then ultimately, those who weren't good quit, leaving only those that are good left. So when a new guy comes up who don't know what he's doing, he doesn't have a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and nothing, like, when I jumped into ranked battles for the first time, I think you would hate ranked battles. Like the splat zones, man, you've got to be on your toes. Like I was, and it was funny too, because like a lot of people, when I first started playing too, like I think it's Salt Spray Rig. Splat zone, of course, is the king of the hill, so you got to cover a specific area. And I'm like watching some dude, I'm sure Jesse wouldn't do this, but watching some dude like trying to fill like the whole northern area of the map, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? This is Splat Zone. What are you filling that place for? Come back down here. And it's not very friendly to newcomers for sure, especially ranked mode, right? Like not friendly to newcomers at all. Which is why it is capped at level 10. But even for turf war, yeah, you are being matched up against people who are. I kind of wish they had a ranked mode for turf war, frankly, where they had some sort of a matchmaking thing there, so you aren't just constantly being paired up against people who are a totally different skill level than you. So yeah.
Well, so I think they do though. That's why the C- comes into play.
Well, that's for Splat Zone. I'm saying there is no ranked mode turf war. There's only ranked mode Splat Zone.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So earlier when I was playing, I played like 5 games, and then I trying to get a different map. I ended up leaving that match and joining another match that was all random people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still level 6, and there was only one level 8. Everyone else was below me. So I think they do kind of match make a little bit based on your level.
I think they try and match you based on your level, yeah.
So yeah, but
which, by the way, can I just say too, like the matchmaking, as far as like the friend functionality, it actually works really well. I've found like as far as jumping into a friend's game, like it is kind of a pain that you have to wait. Like if you say, "Oh, I'm gonna join Justin's game," and then it'll like give you the okay, like here's a countdown timer. Whereas in Mario Kart, at least you get to watch the current race.
Yeah.
Instead of just watching
that would
a
have been
timer,
nice if you could watch.
Oh. Yeah.
Then,
and I mean, the worst is when you watch the 3-minute timer go down and then it says results, and then it goes back to another 3-minute timer, and it's just like,
I've
really?
actually haven't had that yet, but I imagined it would be possible to have no one leave.
Yeah, that's what happens is the timer resets. It's happened to me before.
I think the only challenge I have with that is like when you go into the online mode, because you have Splat Zone?
Splat
Zone, and then below it is friends, right? So you just go down and you click in friends, and then at the very top it shows if you have a friend online or not. Even before I go into that level of the menu, I'd like to see if my friend is online the level above it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so right when I'm in the menu, because it has a little friend icon, the square with a smiley face, if I have a friend online, I want that to flash.
And I want it to...
I know, and I'm like, oh, it's Zach. Awesome, I can go in and go do it.
And I want it to say if... because it'll just show a list of your friends, but you don't know if you think okay, well, here's 4 of my friends who are currently playing. Are they all playing together, or are they playing in separate games? Do I have to make a decision here, or does it matter? There's no sort of communication of that there either. So a lot of the connectivity, and another big problem is if you want to change guns in between games, you have to leave the queue, right? You have to leave the group and go and change your gun. And then likely if you're playing with friends, that means you have to miss a game, which sucks, right?
Yeah, that feels like something they could easily patch.
Yeah, it feels like it. So, but again, sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
Wait, so I, in the single player, I got through the second boss, so I think it's like stage 9 or so. So that's like a third of the way through the single player game.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I finished that, I decided to try the online again. Found my friend Sean Buckley, who...
I played quite a few games with Sean over the weekend.
I joined his game, and literally within 45 seconds, they had 95% of the map filled out.
Mm-hmm.
And they had us pinned, and all right, bye, I'm done.
Oh man, you know what though? The thing is that so many games have been the first 2.5 minutes or like that, and then something happens and momentum shifts and you end up winning the game. I've had several games like that where you just end up getting through through a choke point in the map or something like that, and you end up filling their entire side of the map too.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
The choke point was in the middle, maybe, but the choke point was at my spawn.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah, so I'll probably keep trying to finish the single player, but I'm not sure I'll play much after that.
Yeah, so, the single player as well. The nice thing about it is you can you collect those orange orbs and you can upgrade your weapons and things like that. And honestly, I would say until you completely level up your the firing rate of your gun, just focus on that, because by the time that thing is fully charged, holy cow, it is it kind of reminds me, is it the arrow spray? It's there's a gun I've been using lately. It's the gold version of the paint sprayer. It's the arrow spray RG or something like that. And man, that thing's got a fast firing rate. It's amazing. So definitely look into using that fast firing rate, because it really it's fun, because they don't have to worry about it being balanced like they do in online. You just increase the firing rate of your gun, and it's super fast and awesome.
Do those upgrades from single player move to your multiplayer game?
No, they don't. No.
Okay.
You only in the single player, the entire single player campaign is using what is basically the equivalent of the splatter shot, the regular gun.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then the orange amiibo, the girl inkling provides challenge missions with the charger. The blue Inkling provides challenge missions with the roller, and the green Inkling, which was my favorite, was a lot of them are Kraken. So like the Kraken is like the super powered squid form, right? It's like a time challenge mode for that. So like go through the entire level in 2 minutes using the Kraken, and you just speed through the whole level. It's really easy and it's really fun. Either that or they will have ink, like a specific amount of ink in the challenge, and you have to defeat the entire level using a very limited amount of ink, which for some of them was actually pretty difficult. So it's pretty fun. It's kind of throwaway, but at the same time they're fun, and I'm looking forward to them continuing to roll out new maps and new modes. I am still deciding if I'm Team Cat or Team Dog for this event that's coming up this month, but we'll see about that. So
yeah, so I did get my amiibo in the mail today for the Splatoon amiibo, and they're I don't know if you can see it up here, but you can't see it at all. But they're still in their box, and I'm kind of thinking about maybe not even opening it.
I really like these amiibos. They're it's interesting, like the detail on them. I actually have a couple of videos that are uploaded to our YouTube channel, but they're not made public yet. But I have, just because I need to go in and add all of the metadata and all that stuff. But the sort of hair on the girl is like softer. My daughter actually like reefed on one of the squid tails or whatever, and kind of like separated the hair from the head. Not entirely. I can just glue it back on, and it didn't even actually come all the way off. It's just loose, sort of. But man, yeah, really like the detail on those amiibo for sure. So, anything else from you, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think this is probably one of the most important games that Nintendo has done in the last 15 years. Yeah. And I know that that sounds like a really broad and brash statement, but I've thought about it for a while about this. I think in a world and a video game environment by which you see a lot of ideas just get sequels and become kind of the yearly cycle of whether it's Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty. And today we saw, and it's not the yearly cycle, but we saw Fallout 4 announced, right? This idea of originality and original content, new IPs, especially on a mainstream, large, an A game developer or an A+ developer such as Nintendo, you don't see that level of risk that I think we sometimes want to see, right? We always say like, oh, we're just getting a remake of, or it's just an HD version of this. And so it becomes very stagnant. But I think this game took a very large risk, and Nintendo took a very large risk in a game that is trying to redefine a genre and make it enjoyable in its own context, right? And they took some, the fact that the online matches are only 3 minutes is a deliberate action they're taking. The fact that they're not using voice chat is a very deliberate action that they're taking. And it's about the environment into which they're creating. And it's more about, and I read an interview today, it's more about creating a quality in the gameplay than it is not wanting to put it in. So the statement that was made is that, if there's no voice chat, everyone goes in, they don't get an advantage of being able to talk to each other, so everyone's on the same playing field, right? Which I thought was an interesting idea of the approach, right? And also the safety of the environment as well. The only game that has reminded me, and Zach, you talked about it earlier, of this whole okay, just one more round, okay, just one more round, okay, just one more round mentality, where all of a sudden you can lose 4 hours, and you're like, how did this just happen?
Why is it 2 a.m. and I work tomorrow?
There was a game. There's one game that I think did this. That's so much to find a console in that time, and that was GoldenEye.
Yes, I was actually going to bring that up. That I have yet to have experience like this since GoldenEye.
This is the closest thing I've ever had to that experience. Now, the context being, I'm almost 20 years older, but it felt very reminiscent of that thing, and I felt like, I always make the joke, like, I feel like I should be sitting around the couch with my friends eating, a large bag of Dorito chips and Orange Crush. But it felt like this. It felt like this time that didn't exist, and I think that GoldenEye was such an impactful game for the NES. There's a lot of other great games in that generation.
You mean the 64, not the NES?
The 64, I apologize, yeah. You think of like the original, Mario 64, you think of Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, some fantastic games in there. But GoldenEye held a very special point. I think Splatoon is holding a very special point for Nintendo on the life cycle that is the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and I think we cannot kind of turn away from the importance of this game in the history of Nintendo is in relation to it going forward. You have to remember, this is a new development team completely, right? This is the question was asked last week, what do we think of the new up and coming producers of these games? If this is the kind of content they're putting out, then I feel safe for what Nintendo's doing in the future, right? Mm-hmm. We cannot live in the house that Mario built forever. So I think it's a great place to be. The other exciting thing about this, right, is the fact that its worldwide reception has been tremendous.
Oh, it's been totally blown out. Like, expectations have been completely exceeded in Japan. Like, it's almost entirely sold out over there.
Yeah. So, and it's funny. Like, I was reading or listening to a podcast, and they're like, yeah, they're kind of shocked that it's sold out in Japan. I'm like, really? You're shocked? You're shocked that a game that looks like it's about Japan's culture is sold out in Japan?
Yeah, it's like a total J-pop game, right? Like,
it absolutely.
Squid Sisters is like J-pop to the extreme.
Tokyo Tower's right there, the crossings, like everything, right?
Are you familiar with Gaijin Goomba on the Game Theorist channel?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, his thing is comparing real life culture and history with games is to see where they get their influences from, and that episode talking about Splatoon is just hilarious.
Yeah, I actually did watch that one, but there's so much, and I know like in the UK it was #1 sales I think last week, and it actually moved like just it's even moved, and here's the thing, it's even moved Wii U consoles.
Oh, so I believe it, yeah.
There's always this game that we say, like, is this going to be the one that's going to help, the tipping point of the console war or this generation? Is this the one that's going to be like, yeah, now I'm going to go out and buy it? We thought maybe it'd be Mario Kart, maybe it'd be Smash. I'm wondering if Splatoon, if it creates enough of an organic and momentum, if this is the game that all of a sudden can help turn around the Wii U sales. I mean, it's not going to, like, sweep a nation, right? Like Wii Sports did. But is it enough to bring the Wii U out of the, like, know you're a failure pile that we're going to put over by the Virtual Boy to being more of a, it was pretty substantial and important in the life cycle that is Nintendo. So I think this game is absolutely critical to the success. And I think when examples of, like, our kids are asking, hey, can we go play this? Can we go play this? Can we go play this? That's exactly what Nintendo wants. Because this is their generation, that generation's game. I think it's tremendous. I love playing it. I don't really care how long till Mario Maker's back. I don't care. Like, this will take up my summer. And I can't wait for them to keep rolling out content. Yeah. I want nothing but Splatoon, like, all the time, hard.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Yeah, I feel like I should have rephrased that last night.
Yeah. Awesome.
Not at all. It sounded perfectly fine.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
Jerks.
Yeah, and Jesse, I think for you, I think we need to spend more. We need to have more games where we're all, like, on a team or whatever. And I think in August too, like, if we have a little more coordinated stuff as well, then we may be. You may find your joy in it that way, and if not, that's fine, right? Like, it's not a game for everybody, but yeah. I'm enjoying it too, and it's exciting. So cool. Any other thoughts, guys? Because I think I can hear something in the distance. What does that sound? It's the postman. There we go. Beautiful. I always feel like I botched that introduction before the music, but I think that's part of the charm. Justin, why don't you go ahead and read our first email?
Sure. Our first email is from Holden Moffat. Hello, Nintendo Dads. My question for this week concerns games that you like a lot, yet are considered polarizing, controversial, or maybe even bad. This particular topic has been on my mind because I recently went back to Kid Icarus Uprising. Zach, you're a fan of that game, as I recall.
Yeah, I was
which
totally
will, which will not hate it. Well, which well not hated is known for hand cramps and a hero who, in regards to ledges and cliffs, is a total lemming. In short, I like the game way more than I thought.
So games that are considered polarizing, controversial, or maybe even bad that we personally like. So almost like a guilty pleasure sort of thing, or just games that we like that. Yeah, okay. So first off, for me, I think Kid Icarus Uprising is a really good choice for me. I loved Kid Icarus Uprising. Like I've said before, it's kind of like playing a Saturday morning cartoon, just with the amount of voiceover that's going on in that game, and the flight. The flight missions in particular are a lot of fun. I will admit that there are some issues with the controls when it's on land. The controls are somewhat difficult to pick up. However, it has an online mode that I played quite a bit of as well, and that's entirely on the ground. And it's just sort of an unconventional control system, but it's really fun. And I definitely like Kid Icarus Uprising as far as just one of those games that it really did get panned for its controls, and I never really had a problem with them. I kind of like them. I see why they did what they did with them. The thing that's weird about it is that they kind of made it a dual stick shooter almost. It almost feels like like similar sort of gameplay to Splatoon, frankly. Like it's that sort of third person shooter online thing that it doesn't have the gyro controls and it's not paint based, but it's a similar sort of third person shooter action multiplayer mode online. The only difference being that instead of having a second stick, you use the stylus on the touch screen to move your aiming around and stuff like that. So and like in flicking the stylus on the touch screen, it actually they relate it to spinning a globe. So if you do it really fast, then you can actually like spin around multiple times, and in letting go that way. And so it ends up being really sort of Twitch based in a totally new sort of way. The only problem with that being, of course, is that it's not always like very ergonomic, if that's the right word to use. You know, where it does, if you play it for a long time, it can kind of give you hand cramps, but that just means you're a sissy. I don't know. In my mind. Anyway, what about you guys? Jesse, what's like a game that you think is controversial or whatever that you have quite enjoyed?
Well, I think I said this before in the show, but I liked, for the most part, Metroid Other M.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I agree that the verbose story was a bit grinding, but with the part, and the pixel hunt was just awful. But with the times when you're actually running and gunning, it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Cool. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, actually, Jesse actually stole mine. Was Metroid Other M. Because I feel like everyone kind of felt like you should have hated that game, and I really didn't. I didn't think it was that bad. I've enjoyed Metroid, but I'm not like I'm not a foamy at the mouth, like know the lore so deep that I'm like, no, this can't be true, and I won't have this, and I looked at it as a game that was fun, right? And it was enjoyable. I didn't mind the just using the Wiimote, turning on its side. I felt at times, flipping it back to kind of being the pointer at the screen was a bit arduous at times, but for the most part, I thought it was good. Like, I enjoyed it. I had a good time, which is really boils down to like what games are, right? You're supposed to enjoy it and have a good time. So, yeah, those are kind of mine.
Cool. By the way, this kind of reminds me of something that I meant to bring up during our Splatoon talk, but I'm just curious on.
Did we lose him? Did we lose both of you? Yep, we lost both of them. Yay. Thank you, Microsoft.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Is Justin there?
Yeah, I'm back.
What happened?
We dropped.
Okay. Are we... Okay, we're good. Sorry, I was just doing a quick speed test. We have sufficient bits and bobs. Okay.
Go to re-ask that question.
Okay, yeah, so sorry about that, guys. Redo. So according to IGN, did you guys see that IGN gave Splatoon a 7.9?
I did.
What do you... I feel like that's criminal. Am I the other... Like, Jesse, I guess maybe I'm a little bit too excited about Splatoon.
What are the reasonings did they give?
I think, honestly, the biggest reason was lack of content, and that it was a little bit sparse on that, although with ranked mode being released so quickly, afterwards, I feel like maybe they're going to have to go back on that. Not that the IGN rank is the end-all be-all of how well a game is actually going to be received or whatever, but I was just curious on if you guys had seen that. And I thought that was pretty criminal, but that's just... Maybe criminal's a bit strong of a word, but you know what I mean.
Well, I think there was also some challenges regarding the lack of voice chat.
Yeah, I think that's another big reason for it as well. I don't know. Anyways, that was just something that was interesting. I thought that it was extremely low, but that was just me. So, anyways, so that kind of just reminded me of that, because apparently Splatoon would qualify as one of those games that potentially is not incredible, and would sort of fall into this question. But anyway, as we know about video game scores,
you never know what you are going to get.
So there we go. Moving into the next email, Jesse, why don't you go ahead and read that for us?
Okay, we have from Brad Bataglia. Thanks. You
Awesome.
did that on purpose. You did give that to me on purpose.
No, but I'm glad I did.
Thank you. Love the show. Wanted to pass along a few E3 predictions. Actually, I just watched the Nintendo Direct Micro, so there are already seems to be a lot afoot for 3DS. Okay, on with my predictions for Nintendo at E3. Do we want me to read them all, then we'll go over it, or one at a time?
Let's kind of, we'll read one and then we'll talk about each one kind of as we go.
Okay. Punch Out for 3DS, complete with a special line of Amiibo.
I like that idea.
I would probably want the King Hippo Amiibo. Sure.
I feel like the 3DS, if we're gonna see, if we'll look at Chibi Robo as an example. I think it's good to always look at what Nintendo's currently doing and what they're sort of planning in order to guess their future. If they do a Punch-Out Amiibo line, I feel like they're going to do maybe one Amiibo for the game and bundle it and call it a day.
Because they have to have the Amiibo optional, because not everyone is going to have a system that also didn't buy the add-on, which I don't even think is out yet, to make Amiibo work with the old system.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, especially for 3DS, if they're going to have multiple Amiibo for a single game, then they're going to resort more to cards. Having a lot of figures for a Wii U game kind of makes sense, because you have all the figures stacked next to the Wii U or whatever. But if you're going to do
and every Wii U player has a reader.
Right, exactly. Whereas the Amiibo for 3DS either is going to be cards, so that you can carry around a lot of these Amiibo cards with you, or it'll be a single figure, being that you could take with you on the go as well. So,
speaking of games that I felt like I was supposed to like but I didn't, Punch Out.
Really?
Yeah.
Like any of them?
I didn't float my boat.
Yeah.
See,
it's.
I played the hell out of the NES Mike Tyson one, and after that, I really couldn't get into the series after that.
I actually played the NES one quite a bit when they released it during their, what was it, like 39-cent virtual console sales or whatever, when the Wii U first came out.
With the one that doesn't have Mike Tyson, but the other guy,
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Dream or something silly like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely I played a lot of that one. I don't know. I would be interested in a Punch-Out game for 3DS. I feel like it's a pretty good that sort of time attack gameplay, where it's is suited pretty well for a handheld. So next one that he has on the list, I'll just read this one. He says Wii U price drop to 179.
No.
There's no way it's going to be 179.
If they price drop it, it'll be to 250
I
or
think so.
200 at the
179
minimum.
isn't that the same price as the regular 3DS?
Yes, or I think that's
169.
That's 169. Maybe in Canada it's 179.
Yeah,
It's $300 in Canada.
Yeah, lately it is.
Yeah,
Dangerous.
yeah. If they price drop it, it'll only go down to 250.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, even with the 360's
Pokemon-
2 price drops, Wii U is still the cheapest thing out there.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Next one is Pokemon for Wii U. Yeah, it's possible. I like a Pokemon game for Wii U. I think is possible. I don't know if a mainline one.
I doubt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does the Pokemon game or series lend itself as well to a dedicated home console versus a portable?
There was 2.
Am I wrong? Like, it just feels like it feels like a portable game. Am I wrong on this? I don't know.
No,
Again,
one of the biggest draws of the Pokemon game, and even from its inception, the design of that game, and part of the reason why they have been hesitant to put a mainline game on the console is specifically because when that game first came out, one of the biggest things about it was you had your Game Boy and you had your link cable, and you and your buddy sat down and you traded Pokemon over the link cable, right? Like the trading component of it, at least historically, has been a big part of it. That's kind of gone by the wayside a little bit with the advent of like the Wi-Fi sort of global trade and that kind of thing. But it's definitely, yeah.
The GameCube did have 2 RPG Pokemon games that definitely was limited in that there was no trading. You only had a finite set of Pokemon that was available to the time. These were I think these were still Gen 3, so your total was 300 to 400 Pokemon, and the games would maybe have 100 available. Yeah, but they can still do one. They probably won't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, cool. Next. Sorry, I just am making number 4. You couldn't see my face as I was reading that one. For the listeners, that'll make sense in a second. Number 4, Jesse.
A dedicated Amiibo game akin to Infinity or Skylanders.
I love this idea, but I don't know if Nintendo's going to be so on the nose with the like a lot of people have kind of predicted this, where it'll be kind of like we kind of talked about it even last week with with like a platformer with Amiibo and stuff like that. I don't know if they do it. Like I just don't think they're that.
I think with the Amiibo shortages, they can't do it.
Yeah, unless they have their own line of Amiibo for this game.
It's just going to make things worse.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe they could do it with cards. Maybe they could if they really do pull off.
But that's not as fun.
It's not. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's not as fun, but it would be more doable, I guess. I don't know. Having said that, I think it would be a lot of fun, and I think that if anybody is going to make a game that I want to play, out of a game like that, then I think that Nintendo is absolutely the people to do it. But because honestly, like Disney Infinity, I haven't played 2.0 yet, but Disney Infinity 1.0 was not that good of a game. Like it was just kind of like run around and do quests, and that was it, right? So.
Yeah, I heard 2.0 was better than the first, but it still is more of the same.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue. The next one that I have put a question mark followed by an exclamation mark is a line of female sports games like soccer, basketball, and the like. I'm not sure what this. What, Justin? How do you feel about this? What is the intent here?
I don't really know. This feels like a bit of an oddity in the lineup for responses he's had.
Can we give that game to Way Forward?
Yes. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
I don't know. Like it's a lineup of female sports games like soccer and basketball. I don't
Because
remember,
that I
Some
might
attention.
buy if it was way forward.
I don't think
Only if they can do the Shantae treatment on the 3DS is
But-
what I want for the character.
we've never
Right.
we've never seen Nintendo.
Right.
We've never seen Nintendo kind of do this. So I think this is kind of a. I don't think this is going to occur. I think what you might see is another Mario sports game of some type, like a Mario soccer or Mario tennis. Maybe but I would even doubt that because this whole Mario and Sonic Olympics thing. So I don't know. It's a very Brad, I'd be interested in kind of maybe sending us another email and talking to us a little bit more about that in depth because it'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think that that the possibility of another sports game is possible. Like we haven't seen any Mario baseball, for example. Hang on, shut your mouth again. Why
What?
is this sorry, my computer again. Oh, surprise. We'll just leave it alone and see what happens. Anyway.
We're gonna lose audio again.
Yeah, I know. I'm not even doing anything extra this time. I just left it alone, and it's still doing this. So, whatever. Screw you, computer.
Speaking of things that I say shut your mouth to, Brad also mentions on his 6 point, no Metroid. Now, Brad,
Shut your face.
I respect you as a fan, but I hope you are wrong here, sir. I hope to see Metroid.
Especially since all three of us predicted it.
Yeah, it's very well possible, but we're fingers are definitely crossed. I think, and I'll be honest, I think a lot of the commentators, people who are providing commentary in the industry right now, are kind of saying like this has to be there. This has to be like either we get a trailer of it, we get announced it's in 2016. I don't know. But,
yeah.
Point number 70 says is new Wii U bundles, perhaps Splatoon, Mario Kart 8, and Smash. We've already seen, Splatoon, Mario Kart 8, and Smash had their own bundles. It'd be interesting if they did like a new bundle that included all three of those games together. That'd be a hell of a package, and then throw in Nintendo Land for, I don't know, $300, and that's a pretty crazy deal.
Or maybe whatever the holiday game is going to be, I'm sure they probably won't mention it at E3, but I'm sure they'll have a Wii U bundle with that.
Yeah, I would assume. Number 8, announcement of linked Nintendo IDs and the ability to track system achievements. I think we all kind of agreed about this on last week's episode, but this feels like it's probably.
I think the link to Nintendo IDs is a given. I honestly don't know about achievements. I've been wanting that for a really long time.
Well,
I don't know.
The thing about achievements, and I'm surprised that Nintendo developers, well, of course, no one else develops for Nintendo besides Nintendo, so that's probably why. But third parties, especially like the achievements, is because they get to track stuff. They know how many people get to this checkpoint, gets to the end game.
Mm-hmm.
Without the achievements, they don't know this.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about that way.
Yeah, it gives them data back, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Because even the PS4 will tell the users 65% of the people got this achievement, but only 1.3 got this one.
Yeah. Zelda update is number 9, and I mean they've been pretty frank that they're not going to show Zelda. And I thought about this more. I think they're probably not going to show Zelda, but I think at like the developers roundtable or things that are not in the video direct or in the treehouse, they're going to say like, hey, here's a picture. Or here's some art of the most recent stuff we're doing.
Yeah, and we'll get like aside notes from Aonuma, like in interviews and stuff like that.
It'll be very thin.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It won't be anything that they say out in the open. It'll be in the closed doors meetings, if at all.
Yeah, it may be like a drawing that Miyamoto did. I don't know.
That seems to be all analyze it for like hours.
Yeah.
Concept art.
Yeah, there you go. And finally, the last one, Mario Galaxy 3 for the 3DS. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I actually am more on board with that than having it on Wii U. I don't know why. I just feel like having Mario Galaxy 3 on the 3DS would be really fun.
Though I have
just to change it up, right? Just to kind of make it.
the problem. I like the idea, but the problem is I think in order for it to run well, it would have to be new 3DS only, and I don't think that'll fly.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it could be an interesting sort of. If that is the case, and it was new 3DS only, I think it would probably be more of a. What if they did like a Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 bundle? You know, that could be interesting.
Well,
Cool.
they already have Galaxy 2 in the Wii U. I don't know. I'm not sure they would re-release it on here on 3DS as well.
Yeah, I don't know. By the way, this computer's working again, but I'm gonna need the audio track just to give you a heads up. I'm gonna need the audio track because I guarantee you there's a hole in this audio like that other week. So
Sure.
anyways, thanks Brad for the feedback. Also, we had a bunch of Twitter responses as well, right?
Yeah, so I've got a whole bunch of those. So I'll read those out to you. We have Alan who says for his E3, he says, wishful E3 predictions, a partnership with Yacht Club Games or Drinkbox Studios, or a partnership with both of them. So
like on a first-party title?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that would be good. What if they did a 3D Metroid for 3DS, or sorry, a 2D Metroid for 3DS, and drop it at the feet of one of the great indies that have done a 2D platformer.
Yacht Club Games was Shovel Knight. What were the other ones, and what do they do?
Drinkbox is Drinkbox Guacamelee?
I think so.
Drinkbox. That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, some of those really top-notch, platformer developers and stuff like that.
So that was one of the statements we got about 6 days ago. Earlier today, I asked, hey, so what are your Nintendo E3 predictions? We had a couple of responses that came in. Rose F. Death, which is Malik, said, Punch Out, baby. So again, there's another statement of people loving Punch Out. I don't get it, but whatever.
He has been on the rise. Like they released the Punch Out Wii game on Virtual Console. Plus, he was in Smash Brothers. Like, he's popular. Little Mac is popular nowadays. The kids like him.
The kids nowadays.
Yeah, those kids. I don't know. You know what? I mean.
I'm a kid, I'm a squid.
So
nice. Jassim Al Haram said third-party games and GameCube games for the Wii U and GBA SNES games on 3DS. So it sounds like an expanded Virtual Console, essentially.
Yeah.
I've been wanting
That'd
GameCube Virtual Console since day one.
Yeah, I know. I feel like, you know what I really want, and I don't know if it ever would. Maybe it would happen actually. I really want to play Eternal Darkness again. I would love to play that on the Virtual Console.
I don't think that would work as well anymore.
You don't think so?
Well, some of the that's the one with the insanity effects, right?
Yeah.
So some of them wouldn't make any sense. Like the game pretends to crash.
Yeah, that's true. Like, oh, please check your save card.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Eugene at Gamer Parent on Twitter said Animal Crossing Wii U, Star Fox Wii U, shown and dated. So I think definitely Star Fox will be shown and dated. Animal Crossing, that would be interesting.
Animal Crossing is a type of game that they could announce for holiday 2015. So, if those two could be the holiday games, I can very easily see those two side by side being the holiday lineup for Wii U.
And then Alan came back with another kind of statement saying, too much Amiibo integration is going to make, I'm going to assume, make me pull the trigger on a PS4 and finally outgrow Nintendo. It was fun. I think Alan's got an interesting point, right? Like, I think, in relation to the Amiibo statement at least, like, Nintendo has gone in hard on the Amiibo stuff lately, right? And they're not going to stop because it's making them bank. So
they need to be careful, right?
They need to be careful. Yep.
Yeah, and because I think that that is very easily going to turn off a lot of people saying, listen, like I just want to buy a freaking game. I don't want to have to buy everything else, right? And I don't want to have to buy a figure for every single game that I play. And it's from all sort of indications that is Nintendo's intent, is to have a Amiibo integration in every single. I think they even said that in the Direct, didn't they? They said, oh, and even here's this new game, and what would be a new game in 2015 without Amiibo, right? And like they were actually pretty straightforward with that. I was like, oh, is that really like? Are you really going that far into admitting that is your strategy, that every single game has to absolutely have Amiibo integration? But
Yeah,
that's they're being pretty clear on that.
They're going all in with that one, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that makes I hope that doesn't start pushing people away from it, I guess is the thing, because that's definitely a short-term strategy if that's the case. So, right on. Anything else? Was that the last of it, Justin?
That was it. That was it from Twitter responses.
Right on. Well,
But
thank
if there's
you.
something else that you guys are hearing, let us know.
Absolutely, yeah. And thank you, everyone, for sending us all of your feedback. As always, we love hearing feedback. Feedback. Wow, what's that? It's like the vacuum of some sort. I don't know. Anyways, finally,
That sucks.
Are you just before you jump out there, Zach? We got a little section called shoutouts that I added
yes.
in the notes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You mind if I just give a couple shoutouts?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Zach's about to tell us how awesome our community is, and I do want to give some shoutouts to some people that are in this last week. We talked about the Humble Bundle. Fotis and I'm saying that wrong probably. Fotis and Randall actually reached out to us both on email and Twitter and said, "Hey guys, I purchased a Humble Bundle. I have some extra codes. Here you guys go. Please give them away to the community in like raffles." So we're gonna absolutely do that. Thank you guys so much. So big shout out to you guys. Alan, who we were just speaking of a couple moments ago, reached out to us an email and said, if anyone out there, so he asked us to kind of broker this conversation as well. If anyone out there has a spare Ollie 3DS code that they would be willing to trade or to maybe provide for free to someone, his daughter loves Ollie for the 3DS, doesn't have a copy of it, wants it on there. They'd be willing to trade like a Guacamelee melee code for it. So if you have an extra Ollie 3DS code, get a hold of us at Nintendo Dads. We'll get you in contact with Alan. You guys can swap everything. It'd be great. But I love the fact that he's coming to us in the community to try and sort that. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the last shout out that needs to go to is Dave, our good friend Dave of the show, who I've mentioned before, was able to provide me with a Rosalina amiibo that I was able to give to my daughter on her 7th birthday this last weekend, and she loved it. And she was so excited for it. So big thanks to Dave. That was just tremendous. So big shout out to those people. Thank you guys so much. And again, these are people who are a part of our community, our Nintendo Dads community, who contribute like everyone else. So thank you so much for what you guys do.
Absolutely, man. Right on. That's super cool that she was able to get Rosalina of all the amiibo too. Hey, like that's just awesome.
That's why there's a Pac-Man somewhere between here and the United States on its way to him.
Right on. Very cool. So, right on. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the Nintendo Dads podcast. Of course, this is a podcast that we do for you, and if you want to follow us, you can check us out on all of the social media channels. You can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can email us nintendodads@gmail.com. You can watch us live every Wednesday night at about 9:30 Mountain Standard Time over at twitch.tv/NintendoDads. Something we can put in the notes, it's not here, is you can go over to YouTube and also find us. You can watch recordings of the live show over at YouTube. You just search for Nintendo Dads, and I have 2 videos that will hopefully be up by the time this episode goes live, showing off our, a bunch of my ridiculous amiibo obsession. There's a couple of videos there, one for the Smash Brothers amiibos and one for the Splatoon ones. So you can check those out as well.
And to get all the Skype glitches and everything, none of that gets edited. It goes right from Twitch into YouTube.
Yeah, there you go.
And speaking of things to check out, we are actually running contests on our social media. So Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're giving away games there. Currently, today we posted Guacamelee that you can get on our Facebook page. On Instagram, we're giving away Mighty Switch Force. And on Twitter, we're going to be giving away Steam World Dig. So please, We got tons of games to give away, folks. Come reach out to us. Easy contests.
Absolutely. As well, you can call in, leave us a voicemail. That's 929-25-NDADS, 929-256-3237. Huge thanks to ocremix.org for our music, both at the beginning and end of the show. To Carter Johnson for our amazing artwork. Check out her artwork at megacarter.tumblr.com.
And
please,
Christopher Walken for testing our phone line.
oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Walken.
He's so fantastic.
He's amazing, and it's an honor to have such a prestigious fan in our community. As well, if you want to do one thing to change the world this week, go over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. Of course, that is the thing that helps us get into as many ears as possible. And with that, we will change the world. Guaranteed. That is our promise to you, one Nintendo Dads episode at a time. Head over to Stitcher as well to check out the show, or of course VGTribune.com. Folks, we are getting ever closer to E3, and with that, we will say good luck, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Oh, so